All right, so now we're going to read um, August. Okay, so we just got done with reading Justin's point of view. It's now we're back at August. So if you hear anything like I or me or something like that, it's referencing August. So this is his point of view back to him. Okay, and we're gonna read from page 206 to 234. It's all August, and then I'm guessing that you have some questions that you want to answer on that Google Doc for the packet for the week. So reading today, and then those answers are due by tomorrow. So here we go. August 1st. Here we go. Page 206. North Pole. The Spud lamp was a big hit at the science fair. Jack and I got an A for it. It was the first A Jack got in class all year long, so he was psyched. All the science fair projects were set out on the tables in the gym. It was the same setup as the Egyptian Mummy Museum back in December, except for this time there were volcanoes and molecule diagrams on the tables instead of pyramids and pharaohs. And instead of the kids taking our parents around to look at everybody else's artifact, we had to stand by our tables while all the parents wandered around the room and came over to us one by one. Here's the math. Here's the math on that one. 60 kids in grade equals 60 sets of parents, and that doesn't even include grandparents, so that's a minimum of 120 pairs of eyes that find their way over to me. Eyes that aren't as used to me as their kids' eyes are now. It's like how a compass needle always points north, no matter what way you're facing. All those eyes are a compass, and I'm like the North Pole to them. That's why it's called North Pole. That's why I still don't like school events that include parents. I don't hate them as much as I did at the beginning of the school year, like the Thanksgiving sharing festival. That one was the worst one, I think. That was the first time I had to face all the parents at once. The Egyptian Museum came after that, and then I was okay because I got to dress up as a mummy and no one noticed me. Then came the winter concert, which I totally hated because I had to sing in the choir and chorus, and not only can I not sing at all, but I felt like I was on display. The New Year art show wasn't quite as bad, but it was still annoying. They put up our artwork in the hallway and all over the school and had parents come and check it out. It was like starting school over again, having unsuspecting adults pass me on the stairway. Anyway, it's not that I care that people react to me. Like I said a gazillion times, I'm used to that by now. I don't let it bother me. I like it when you go outside and it's drizzling. It's like you go outside and it's drizzling a little. You don't have to put on boots for a drizzle. You have to open your umbrella. You walk through it, barely notice that your hair getting wet. But when a huge gym of full of parents, the drizzle becomes like a total hurricane. Everyone's eyes hit you like a wall of water. Mom and dad hang around at the table a lot, along with Jack's parents. It's kind of funny how parents actually end up forming the same little groups as their kids form. Like my parents and Jack and Summer's mom all like getting along with each other, and I see Julian's parents hang out with Henry's parents and Miles' parents, and even the two Max's parents hang out together. It's so funny. I told mom and dad about it later when we were walking home, and they thought it was a funny observation. I guess it's true that it seems like that, said mom. Page 208. The Augie doll. For a while, the war was all we talked about. February was when it was really at its worst. That's when practically nobody was talking to us, and Julian had started leaving us notes in our lockers. The notes to Jack were stupid like, you stink, big cheese, and nobody likes you anymore. I got notes like, freak, and other ones said, get out of our school, orc. Summer thought that we should report those notes to Mrs. Rubin, who was the middle school dean, or even Mr. Tushman, but we thought that would be like snitching. Anyway, it's not like we didn't leave notes too. Ours weren't really mean. They were kind of funny and sarcastic. One was, "You're so pretty, Julian. I love you. Will you marry me? Love, Blua." Another one was, "Love your hair. XO Balua." Another one was, "You're a babe. Tickle my feet. XO Balua." Balua was the made up person that me and Jack came up with. She had really gross habits like eating the green stuff in between her toes and sucking on her knuckles. And we figured someone like that would have a real crush on Julian, who looked and acted something like a Kids Bop commercial. There was also a couple of times in February when Julian, Miles, and Henry played tricks on Jack. They didn't play tricks on me, I think, because they knew that if they got caught bullying me, it would be a big time trouble for them. Jack, they figured, was an easy target. So one at a time, they stole his gym shorts and played monkey in the middle with him in the locker room. Another time, Miles, who sat next to Jack in homeroom, swiped Jack's worksheet off his desk, crumpled it in a ball, and tossed it into Julian across the room. This wouldn't have happened in Miss Petosa's if Miss Petosa had been there, of course, but she was a substitute teacher that day. There was a substitute teacher that day, and subs really never knew what was going on. Jack was good about this stuff. He never let them see he was upset, though I think sometimes he was. The other kids in the grade knew about the war, except for Savannah's group. The girls were neutral at first, but by March they were getting sick of it, and some of the boys, like another time when Julian was dumping some pencil sharpener shavings onto Jack's backpack, Amos, who was usually tight with them, grabbed the backpack out of Julian's hand and returned it to Jack. It was starting to feel like the majority of the boys weren't buying into Julian anymore. Then a few weeks ago, Julian started spreading this ridiculous rumor that Jack had hired some hitman to get him and Miles and Henry. The lie was so pathetic that people were actually laughing about him behind his back. At that point, any boy who was still been on his side now jumped ship and was clearly neutral. So by the end of March, only Miles and Henry were on Julian's side, and I think even they were getting tired of the war by then. I'm pretty sure everyone stopped playing the play game behind my back too. No one really cringes if I bump into them anymore, and the people borrow my pencils without acting like pencils have cooties. People even joke around with me now sometimes. Like the other day I saw Maya writing a note to Ellie on a piece of Ugly Doll stationery, and I don't know why, but it just kind of randomly said, "Did anyone know the guy who created Ugly Dolls is based them on me?" Maya looked at me with her eyes wide open like she totally believed me. Then she realized I was only kidding, though she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. "You're so funny, August," she said. And then she told Ellie and some of the other girls what I just said, and they all thought it was funny too. Like the first, they were like shocked, but then they saw that I was laughing about it, and they knew it was okay to laugh about it too. The next day, I found a little Ugly Doll keychain sitting on my chair with a nice little note from Maya that said, "For the nicest Augie doll in the world, XO, Maya." 6 months ago, stuff like that would never happen, but now it happens more and more. Also, people have been really nice about the hearing aids that I started wearing. 211. Lobot. Ever since I was little, the doctors told my parents that someday I'd need hearing aids. I don't know why this always freaked me out a bit, maybe because anything to do with my ears bothered me a lot. My hearing aids were getting worse, but I hadn't told anyone about it. I mean, my hearing had gotten worse, but no one told anybody about it. The ocean sound that was always in my head had been getting louder. It was drowning out people's voices like it was underwater. I couldn't hear the teachers as I sat back of the class, but I knew if I told Mom and Dad about it, I'd end up with hearing aids, and I was hoping I could make it through the 5th grade without having that happen. But then my annual checkup in October, I flunked the auditory test, and the doctor was like, "Dude, it's time." And he sent me to a special ear doctor who took impressions of my ears. Out of all my features, my ears are the ones I hate the most. They are like tiny closed fists on the sides of my face. They're too low on my head, too. They look like squashed pieces of pizza dough sticking out the top of my neck or something. Okay, well, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I really hate them. When the ear doctor first pulled the hearing aids out for me and Mom to look at, I groaned. "I'm not wearing that thing," I announced, folding my arms in front of me. "I don't know. They probably look kind of big," said the ear doctor, "but we had to attach them to a headband because we had no other way of making them so they could stay in your ears." See, normal hearing aids usually have a part of wraps around the outer ear to hold the inner ear bud in place, but in my case, since I don't have outer ears, they had to put the earbud on this heavy-duty headband that was supposed to wrap around the back of my head. "You can't wear that, Mom," I whined. You hardly notice them," said Mom, trying to be cheerful. "They look like headphones." "Headphones? Look at them, Mom," I said angrily. "I look like a lobot." "Which one is a lobot?" said Mom calmly. "Lobot?" The ear doctor smiled as he looked at the headphones and made some adjustment. "Empire Strikes Back? The bald guy with the cool bionic radio transmitting thing that wraps around the back of his skull?" "I'm drawing a blank," said Mom. "You know Star Wars stuff?" I asked the ear doctor. "No, Star Wars stuff," he answered, slipping the thing over my head. "I practically invented Star Wars stuff." He leaned back in his chair to see how the headband fit and then took it off again. "Now, Augie, I want to explain what this all is," he said. pointing to different parts of the one hearing aid. This curved piece of plastic over here connects the tubing of the ear mold. That's why I took these impressions back in December, so that part of that goes inside your ear and fits nice and snug. This part here is called the tone hook, okay? This is the special part we've attached to the cradle here. The Lobot part, I said miserably. Hey, Lobot's cool, said the ear doctor. It's not like we're going to look like Jar Jar, you know. That would be bad. He slid an earphone over my head again and carefully. There you go, August, so how's that? Totally uncomfortable, I said. You get used to them so quickly, he said. I look in the mirror, my eyes start tearing up. All I saw was these jutting out from the other side of the head, like antennas. Do I really have to wear this, Mom? I'm trying not to cry. I hate them. They don't make any difference. Give it a second, buddy, said the doctor. I haven't even turned them on yet. Wait till you hear the difference. You'll want to wear them. No, I won't. And then he turned them on. Page 214, hearing brightly. How can I describe what I heard to the doctor turn on my hearing aids? Or what I didn't hear? It's too hard to think of words. The ocean wasn't living inside my head anymore. It was gone. I could hear sounds like shining lights in my brain. It was like you're in a room with one light bulb on and the ceiling and it's not working. But you don't realize how dark it is until someone changes the light bulb and you're like, whoa, it's kind of bright in here. I know that if there's a word that means the same as bright in terms of hearing, but I wish I knew one because my ears were hearing brightly now. How does it sound, Augie? Asked the ear doctor. Ear doctor, can you hear me okay, buddy? I looked at him and smiled, but I didn't answer. Sweetie, do you hear anything different? Said Mom. You don't have to shout, Mom, I said. I nodded happily. Are you hearing better? Asked the ear doctor. I don't hear that noise anymore, I answered. It's so quiet in my ears. The white noise is gone, he said, nodding. He looked up at me and made more adjustments on the left hearing aid. Does it sound very different, love? Mom asked. Yeah, I nodded. It sounds lighter. That's because you have a bionic hearing aid, buddy, said the ear doctor, adjusting the right side. Now touch here. He put my hand behind the hearing aid. Do you feel that? That's the volume. You have to find the volume that works for you. We're going to do that next. Well, what do you think? He picked up a small mirror and made me look at them in a mirror, big mirror, at how the hearing aids looked in the back. My hair covered most of the headband. The only part that peeked out was the tubing. Are you okay with your new bionic Lobot hearing aids? The ear doctor asked, looking in the mirror at me. Yeah, I said. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. James, said Mom. The first day I showed up at school with the hearing aids, I thought kids would make a big deal about it, but no one did. Summer was glad I could hear better, and Jack made it look like I was an FBI agent or something. But it was Mr. Brown asked me in the English class, but it wasn't like, what the heck are those things on your head? It was more like, if you ever need me to repeat something, Augie, make sure to tell me, okay? Now that I look back, I don't know why I was so stressed about it all the time. Funny how sometimes you worry a lot about something, and it turns out to be nothing. Well, I know that's true. Been there, done that. Page 216, Via's Secret. A couple days after spring break ended, Mom found out that Via hadn't told her about the school play, and was happening at her high school next week. Mom was mad. Mom doesn't really get mad that much, though Dad would disagree with that. But she was really mad at Via for that. She said Via got into a huge fight. I could hear them yelling at each other in Via's room. My bionic Lobot ears could hear Mom saying, "But what is it with you lately, Via? You're moody, tantrum, and secretive. What's so wrong with me not telling you about a stupid play?" Via practically screamed. "I don't even have a speaking part in it." "Your boyfriend does. Don't you want us to see him in it?" "No, actually I don't." "Stop screaming." "You scream first. Just leave me alone, okay?" "You've been really good about leaving me out of your whole life, so why choose high school to all suddenly be interested? I have no idea." Then I don't know what Mom answered because it all got very quiet, and even my bionic Lobot ears couldn't even pick up a signal. 217, my cave. By dinner, they seemed to have made up. Dad was working late, Daisy was sleeping. She'd thrown up a lot earlier that day, and Mom was making an appointment to take her to the vet the next morning. Three of us were sitting down and no one was talking. Finally, I said, "So, are we going to see Justin in the play?" Via didn't answer, but looked down at her plate. You know, Augie, said Mom quietly, I hadn't realized what play it was, and it really isn't something that would be interesting to kids your age. So I'm not invited? I said, looking at Via. I didn't say that, said Mom. I don't think it's something you'd enjoy. You get totally bored, said Via. She said, accusing me of something. Are you and Dad going? I asked. Dad'll go, said Mom. I'll stay home with you. What? Via yelled at Mom. Oh, great. So you're going to punish me for being honest by not going? You didn't want us to go in the first place, remember? Answered Mom. But now that you know about it, of course I want you to go, said Via. Well, I gotta weigh everyone's feelings here, Via, said Mom. What are you two talking about? I shouted. Nothing. They both snapped at the same time. Just something about Via's school that has nothing to do with you, said Mom. You're lying, I said. Excuse me? Said Mom, kind of shocked. Even Via looked surprised. I said you're lying, I shouted. You're lying, I screamed at Via, getting up. You're both liars. You're both lying to my face like I'm an idiot. Sit down, Augie, said Mom, grabbing my arm. Pulled my arm away and pointed at Via. You think I don't know what's going on, I yelled. You just don't want your brand new fancy high school friends to know your brother's a freak. Augie, Mom yelled. That's not true. Stop lying to me, Mom, I shrieked. Stop treating me like I'm a baby. I'm not retarded. I know what's going on. I ran down the hallway to my room and slammed the door behind me so hard I could actually hear little pieces of the wall crumbling inside the doorframe. Then I plopped onto my bed and pulled the covers on top of me. I threw my pillows over my disgusting face and then piled all stuffed animals on top of the pillows, like I was inside a little cave. If I could walk around with a pillow over my face all the time, I would. I don't even know how I got so mad. I really wasn't mad at the beginning of dinner. I wasn't even sad. But then all of a sudden it was kind of like it just exploded out of me. I knew Via didn't want me to go to her stupid play, and I knew why. Figured Mom would follow me into my room right away, but she didn't. I wanted her to find me inside my cave house in the stuffed animals, so I waited a little more. But even after 10 minutes, she still didn't come in after me. I was pretty surprised. She always checks on me. I'm up in my room, upset about stuff. I pictured Mom and Via talking about me in the kitchen. I figured Via was feeling really, really, really bad. Pictured Mom totally lying on the guilt, and Dad would be mad at her when he came home too. I made a little hole through the pile of pillows and stuffed animals and peeked at the clock on my wall. Half an hour had passed and Mom still hadn't come into my room. I tried to listen for the sounds in the other rooms. Were they still having dinner? What was going on? Finally, the door opened. It was Via. She didn't even bother coming over to my bed, and she didn't come in softly like I thought she would. She came in quickly. Page 220. Goodbye. Augie, said Via, come quick. Mom needs to talk to you. I'm not apologizing. This isn't about you, she yelled. Not everything in the world's about you, Augie. Now hurry up. Daisy's sick. Mom's taking her to the emergency vet. Come say goodbye. Pushed the pillows off my face and looked up at her. That's when I saw she was crying. What do you mean goodbye? Come on, she said, holding her hand. I took her hand and followed her down the hall to the kitchen. Daisy was lying sideways on the floor with her legs straight out in front of her. She was panting a lot like she'd been running in a park. Mom was kneeling beside her, stroking the top of her head. What happened? I asked. She just started whimpering all of a sudden, said Via, kneeling down next to Mom. I looked down at Mom, who was crying too. I'm taking her to the animal hospital downtown, she said. The taxi's coming to pick me up. The vet'll make her better, right? I said. Mom looked at me. I hope so, honey, she said quietly, but I honestly don't know. Of course he will, I said. Daisy's been sick a lot late, Augie, and she's old. But they can fix her, I said, looking at Via to agree with me, but Via wouldn't look up at me. Mom's lips were trembling. I think it might be the time we say goodbye to Daisy, Augie. I'm sorry. No, I said. We don't want her to suffer, Augie, she said. The phone rang. Via picked it up. Okay, thanks, and then hung it up. Taxi's outside, she said, wiping her tears with the back of her hands. Okay, Augie, open the door for me, sweetie, Mom, picking Daisy up gently as she was a huge, droopy baby. Please no, Mommy, I cried, and I'm putting myself in front of the door. Honey, please, said Mom, she's very heavy. What about Daddy, I cried. He's meeting at me at the hospital, Mom said. He doesn't want Daisy to suffer, Augie. Via moved me far away from the door and held it open for Mom. My cell phone's on if you need anything, Mom said to Via. Can you cover her with a blanket? Via nodded, and she was crying hysterically now. Say goodbye to Daisy, kids, Mom said, tears streaming down her face. Love you, Daisy, Via said, kissing Daisy on the nose. I love you so much. Bye, little girlie, I whispered in Daisy's ear. I love you. Mom carried Daisy down the stoop. The taxi driver had opened the door as we watched her get in. Just before she closed the door, Mom looked up at us standing in the entrance to the building and she gave us a little wave. I don't think I ever seen her look sadder. I love you, Mommy, said Via. I love you, Mommy, I said. I'm sorry, Mommy. Mom blew a kiss to us, closed the door. We watched the car leave, and then Via closed the door. She looked at me a second, and then she hugged me very, very tight while we both cried a million tears. Page 223. Justin came over half an hour later. He gave me a big hug and said, Sorry, Augie. We all sat down in the living room, not saying anything. For some reason, Via and I had taken all Daisy's toys from around the house and put them in a little pile on the coffee table. Now we just stared at the pile. She really is the greatest dog in the world, said Via. I know, said Justin, rubbing Via's back. She just started whimpering now, like all of a sudden. I said. Via nodded. Like 2 seconds after you left the table, she said. Mom was going to go after you, but Daisy started, like, whimpering. Like how, I said. Just whimpering, I don't know, said Via. Like howling, I asked. Augie, like whimpering, she answered impatiently. She just started moaning like something was really hurting her, and she was panting like crazy. She just kind of plopped down. Mom went over and tried to pick her up, and whatever she was obviously hurting, she bit Mom. What? I said. When Mom tried to touch her stomach, Daisy bit her hand, Via explained. Daisy never bites anyone, I answered. She wasn't herself, said Justin. She was obviously in pain. Daddy was right, said Via. We shouldn't have let her get this bad. What do you mean, I said. He knew she was sick? Augie, Mom's taken her to the vet like 3 times the last 2 months. She's been throwing up left and right, haven't you noticed? But I didn't know she was sick. Via didn't say anything, but she put her arms around my shoulders and pulled me closer to her. I started to cry again. I'm sorry, Augie, she said softly. I really am sorry about everything, okay? You forgive me? You know how much I love you, right? I nodded. Somehow the fight didn't matter much now. Was Mommy bleeding? I asked. It was just a nip, said Via. Right here, there. She pointed to the bottom of her thumb to show me exactly where Daisy had bit Mom. Did it hurt her? Mommy's okay, Augie, she's fine. Mom and Dad came home 2 hours later. We knew the second they opened the door that Daisy wasn't with them, that Daisy was gone. We all sat in the living room around the pile of Daisy's toys. Dad told us what happened at the animal hospital and how the vet took Daisy for x-rays and blood tests and then came back and told them she had a huge mass in her stomach. She was having trouble breathing. Mom and Dad didn't want her to suffer. So Daddy picked her up in his arms like he always liked to do, with their legs straight up in the air, and he and Mom kissed her goodbye over and over again, and then whispered to her while the vet put the needle into her leg, and then about a minute later she died in Daddy's arms. It was so peaceful, Daddy said. She wasn't in pain at all, like she was just going to sleep. A couple times while he talked, Daddy's voice got trembly and he had to clear his throat. I never seen Dad cry before, but I saw him cry tonight. I had gone to Mom and Dad's bedroom looking for Mom to put me to bed, but I saw Dad sitting at the edge of the bed, taking off his socks. His back was to the door, so he didn't know I was there. At first, I thought he was laughing because his shoulders were shaking, but then he put his arm palms on his eyes and I realized that he was crying. It was the quietest cry I had ever heard, like a whisper. I was going to go over to him, but then I thought maybe he was whisper crying because he didn't want me or anyone else to hear him. So I walked out and went to Via's room, and I saw Mom lying next to Via on her bed, and Mom was whispering to Via, who was crying. So I went to my bed and put on my pajamas without anyone telling me to do, and I went to the nightlight and turned it on the light and nightlight off, and I crawled into a little mountain of stuffed animals I had left on my bed earlier. It felt like it all happened a million years ago. I took my hearing aids off, put them on the night table, and pulled the covers up on my ears. Imagined Daisy snuggling with me, with her big wet tongue licking all over my face, all over like it was her favorite face in the world. And that's how I fell asleep. Page 226. Heaven. I woke up and it was still dark, got out of bed and walked into Mom and Dad's bedroom. Mommy, I whispered. It was completely dark, so I couldn't see her open her eyes. Mommy, you okay, honey? She said gruggly. Can I sleep with you? Mom scooted over toward Daddy's side of the bed, and I snuggled next to her, and she kissed my hair. Is your hand okay? I said. Via told me that Daisy bit you. It was only a nip, she whispered in my ear. Mommy, I started crying. Sorry about what I said. Shh. There's nothing to be sorry about, she said, so quietly I could barely hear her. She was rubbing the side of her face against my face. Is Via ashamed of me? I said. No, honey, no. I know she's not. She's just adjusting to a new school, and it's not easy. I know. I know you know. I'm sorry I called you a liar. Go to sleep, sweet boy. I love you so much. I love you so much too, Mommy. Good night, honey, she said very softly. Mommy, is Daisy with Grants now? I think so. Are they in heaven? Yes. Do people look the same when they go to heaven? I don't know. I don't think so. Then how do people recognize each other? I don't know, sweetie. She sounded tired. You just feel it. You don't need your eyes to love, right? You just need the inside of you. That's how it's in heaven. It's just love, and no one forgets who they love. She kissed me again. I'll go to sleep, honey. It's late, and I'm tired. But I couldn't go to sleep. Even after I knew she had fallen asleep, I could hear Daddy sleeping too, and I imagined I could hear Via sleeping down the hallway in her room. And I wondered if Daisy was sleeping in heaven right then. And if she was sleeping, was she dreaming about me? And I wondered how it would feel to be in heaven someday and not have my face matter anymore, just like it never even mattered to Daisy. Page 228, Understudy. We got 6 more pages to go. Via brought home 3 tickets from the school play a few days after Daisy died. We never mentioned the fight we had at dinner again. On the night of the play, right before she and Justin were leaving to get into their school early, she gave me a big hug and she told me she loved me and she was proud to be my sister. This was my first time at Via's new school. It was much bigger than the old school and 1,000 times bigger than my school. More hallways, more room for people. The only really bad thing about my bionic Lobot hearing aid was the fact that I couldn't wear a baseball cap anymore. Situations like this, baseball caps came in real handy. Sometimes I wish I could get away with wearing the old astronaut helmet I used to wear when I was little. Believe it or not, people would think seeing a kid in an astronaut helmet was a lot less weird than seeing my face. Anyway, I kept my head down and I walked right behind Mom through the long hall, bright hallways. Excuse me. We followed the crowd to the auditorium where students handed out programs in the front entrance. We found seats in the 5th row close to the middle. As soon as we sat down, Mom started looking inside her pocketbook. Can't believe I forgot my glasses, she said. Dad shook his head. Mom was always forgetting her glasses or keys or something or other. She is flaky that way. You want me to move closer? Said Dad. Mom squinting at the stage. No, I could see okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace, said Dad. I'm fine, answered Mom. Look, there's Justin, I said to Dad, pointing out Justin's picture in the program. That's a nice picture of him, he answered, nodding. How come there's no picture of Via? I said. She's an understudy, said Mom. But look, here's her name. What do they call her? Why do they call her an understudy? I asked. Wow, look at Miranda's picture, said Mom to Dad. I don't think I would have recognized her. Why do they call it an understudy? He repeated. It's what they call someone who replaces an actor if they can't perform for some reason, answered Mom. Did you hear Martin's getting remarried? Dad said to Mom. Are you kidding me? Mom answered, like she was surprised. Who is Martin? I asked. Miranda's father, Mom answered. And then to Dad, who told you? I ran into Miranda's mother on the subway. She's not happy about it. He has a new baby on the way and everything. Wow, said Mom, shaking her head. What are you guys talking about? I said. Nothing, answered Dad. But why do they call it an understudy? I said. I don't know, Augie Doggy, Dad answered. Maybe because the actors kind of study under the main actors or something. I really don't know. I was going to say something else, but then the lights went down and the audience got very quiet quickly. Daddy, can you please not call me Augie Doggy anymore? I whispered in Dad's ears. Dad smiled and nodded and gave me a thumbs up. The play started, the curtain opened, and the stage was completely empty except for Justin, who was sitting on an old rickety chair tuning his fiddle. He was wearing an old-fashioned type of suit and a straw hat. The play's called Our Town, he said to the audience. It was written by Thornton Wilder, produced by and directed by Philip Davenport. The name of the town is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts line, latitude 42 degrees, 40 minutes, longitude 70 degrees, 37 minutes. The first act shows a day in our town. The day is May 7th, 1901. Hey, May 7th, that's close to now. The time is just before dawn. I knew right then and there I was going to like the play. It wasn't like other school plays I'd been to, like The Wizard of Oz or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. No, this was a grown-up seeming, and I felt smart sitting there watching it. A little later in the play, a character named Mrs. Webb calls out for her daughter Emily. I knew from the program that that was the part where Miranda was playing, so I leaned forward to get a better look at her. "That's Miranda," Mom whispered to me, squinting at the stage when Emily walked out. She looked so different. "It's not Miranda," I whispered. "It's Via." "Oh my God," said Mom, lurching forward in her seat. "Shh," said Dad. "It's Via," Mom whispered to him. "I know," whispered Dad, smiling. "Shh." That ending, page 231, last section here. The play was so amazing I didn't want to give away the ending, but it kind of an ending that makes people in the audience teary. Mom totally lost it when Via, as Emily, said, "Goodbye, goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corners, Mama and Papa. Goodbye to the clocks ticking and Mama's sunflowers, and food and coffee, the new iron dresses and hot baths, and sleeping and waking up. Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anybody to realize you." Via was actually crying while she was saying this, like real tears. I could see them rolling down her cheeks. It was totally awesome. After the curtain closed, everyone in the audience started clapping. Then the actors came out one by one. Via and Justin were their last ones out. When they appeared, the whole audience rose to their feet. "Bravo!" I heard Dad yelling through his hands. "Why is everyone getting up?" I said. "It's a standing ovation," said Mom, getting up. So I got up, clapped and clapped. I clapped until my hands hurt. For a second, I imagined how cool it was to be the Via and Justin right then, having all these people standing up and cheering for them. I think there would be a rule that everyone in the world would be getting a standing ovation at least once in their lives. Finally, after I don't know how many times, the line of actors on stage stepped back and the curtain closed in front of them. The clapping stopped and the lights went up and the audience started getting up to leave. Me and Mom and Dad made our way backstage. Crowds of people were congratulating the performers surrounding them, patting them on their back. We saw Via and Justin at the center of the crowd, smiling at everyone, laughing and talking. "Via!" shouted Dad, waving as he had made his way through the crowd. When we got close enough, he hugged her and then lifted her off the floor a little. "You are amazing, sweetheart." "Oh my God, Via," Mom said, screaming with excitement. "Oh my God, oh my God." She was hugging Via so hard I thought Via was going to suffocate, but Via was laughing. "You are brilliant," said Dad. "Brilliant," Mom said, kind of nodding and shaking her head at the same time. "And you, Justin," said Dad, shaking Justin's hand and giving him a hug at the same time. "You are fantastic." "Fantastic," Mom repeated. She was honestly so emotional she could barely talk. "What a shock to see you up there, Via," said Dad. "Mom didn't even recognize you at first," I said. "I didn't recognize you," said Mom, her hand over her mouth. "Miranda got sick right before the show started," said Via, all out of breath. "There wasn't enough time to make an announcement. I have to say she looked kind of strange because she was wearing all this makeup. I had never seen her like this before." "And you just stepped right in there last minute," said Dad. "Wow. She was amazing, wasn't she?" said Justin, his arms around Via. "There wasn't a dry eye in the house," said Dad. "Is Miranda okay?" I said, but no one heard me. At that moment, a man who I think was their teacher came over to Justin and Via, clapping his hands. "Bravo, bravo, Olivia and Justin." He kissed Via on both cheeks. "I flubbed a couple of lines," said Via, shaking her head. "But you got through it," said the man, smiling ear to ear. "Mr. Davenport, these are my parents," said Via. "You must be so proud of your girl," he said, shaking their hands with both hands. "We are." "And this is my little brother, August," said Via. He looked as he was about to say something, but suddenly he froze when he looked at me. "Mr. D," said Justin, pulling him by the arm, "come meet my mom." Via was about to say something to me, but then someone else came over and started talking to her. And before I knew it, I was kind of alone in the crowd. I mean, I knew where Mom and Dad were, but there were so many people around us, and people kept bumping into me, spinning me around a bit, giving me that 1-2 look, which made me feel kind of bad. I don't know. It was because I was feeling hot or something. Because I kind of started getting dizzy. People's faces were blurred in my head. Their voices so loud that it was almost hurting my ears. I tried to turn down the volume on my Labatt ears, but I got confused to turn them louder at first, which kind of shocked me. And then I looked up and I didn't see Mom or Dad or Via anywhere. Via! I yelled out, starting to push through the crowd to find Mom. Mommy! I really couldn't see anything but people's stomachs and ties all around me. Mommy! Suddenly, someone picked me up from behind. Look who's here, said a familiar voice, hugging me tight. I thought it was Via at first, but then I turned around. I was completely surprised. Hey, Major Tom, she said. Miranda, I answered, and then I gave her the tightest hug I could ever give. And that's the end of page 234, end of August section. The next section will be about Miranda's point of view. Hope you enjoyed, and that's that.